Hey sports fans, welcome to our ongoing video series chronicling our visit to the 2026 Winter Olympics. Over nearly a week, I got to know the city of Milan very well, especially its sports venues. On days 3 and 4 of my trip, I got a chance to head to every site that was hosting Olympic events in Milan, and in this video I'm going to show you what it was like at each of these venues, so let's go. If you're new to this channel, my name is Ed, and I chronicle all my sports travels on my website, Itinerant Fan. It has guides to all the stadiums in the major American sports leagues, plus some college stadiums and even major venues around the world. Check it out sometime if you're into traveling for sports. The 2026 Winter Olympics were staged throughout northern Italy, but I chose to concentrate most of my trip on the city of Milan. Here, there were several venues hosting 4 different Olympic disciplines. After we spent the day before in the mountains watching an event in this town of Livigno, that was our previous video, so don't forget to check it out. We were happy to spend a couple of chill days in Milan exploring the Olympic venues there. Each of these venues were accessible via the Milan Metro, and our first stop was the Assago Forum, reachable as the final stop on the M2 line. This is normally Milan's primary sporting arena, in use since 1990, but for these Olympics it was known as the Milano Ice Skating Arena, used for figure skating and short track speed skating. Now, we were headed there in the early afternoon, not for an event, but for a figure skating training session. Figure skating is typically the most popular sport at any Winter Olympics, with short track not far behind, and demand for tickets for both was through the roof whenever I checked in the months before the games. However, when I saw tickets for a training session selling for just €30 per ticket, I jumped at it. Hey, it's not an event, but at least it would be a cool and affordable way to see the venue. Only one side of the arena was open for spectators in this session, but any delusion I had that this would be just a relaxed chance to watch skaters practicing was dashed when I saw that the stands were packed. The men's singles competitors were on the ice, training for the start of their competition the next day, and their practice routines were being cheered on as though they were actually competing. I did take a little bit of time to look around this arena, which is home to professional basketball team Fiera Milano, and has hosted hockey, volleyball, tennis, and more. It typically seats nearly 16,000 fans, though for the Olympics a lot of this room was taken up by media space. In the end, I stayed only about half an hour, as I figured I'd leave this to the hardcore figure skating fans. It might have been just a short glimpse, but I was happy to have a chance to see this venue. And I wasn't that broken up about not seeing an actual event here, as I'd have one to go to later that night, just at a different venue. After some exploration around town and a short rest, we were headed into the metro again for the trip to Santa Giulia Ice Hockey Arena. We were well versed on this journey, having done it just 2 nights before to watch our first event of these games, USA vs Canada in women's hockey, and we were excited to see some more puck. Just like we had done a couple nights before, we used the M3 line to Rogoredo Station, after which we rode a free arena shuttle to get to Santa Giulia Ice Hockey Arena.
Okay, back at Santa Giulia, this time for men's hockey. The men's hockey tournament has begun, and we're here for USA versus Latvia. Really excited to have NHLers back in the Olympics. Been waiting 12 years for it. Everyone here has. So it should be a fun night.
For our first visit to this arena, we had some great seats in the lower bowl. For this game, well, not so much, but that's okay. For most Olympic events, when you've purchased tickets, you don't get to select your seat or even your section, but rather one of up to 3 price categories, A, B, or C. I chose category C for this event, which I knew would mean the worst seats in the house, but I didn't find out exactly where they would be located until a couple of weeks before the event. And maybe worst is a sort of a harsh way to describe these particular seats, because there were at least 10 rows from the top, and when you get right down to it, the view wasn't bad at all. Anyway, as I mentioned earlier, I was really excited to have NHLers back in the Olympics. Team USA, of course, was comprised entirely of NHL players, while Team Latvia had several players recognizable to NHL fans, particularly their two goaltenders, Elvis Merzlikins and Artur Shilovs. I was surrounded mostly by fellow Americans, so naturally my entire section erupted when Team USA got off to a quick start with the game's first goal. But the first period was an exciting and competitive one, and when Latvia scored to tie the game at 1, it was their fans' turn to erupt. The game remained tied through one period, but it was after that when Team USA's talent began to shine through, and the team started to pull away, eventually winning the game 5-1. Of course, the US men would go undefeated in the Olympic tournament, eventually joining the women as gold medal winners. And so I was excited to have witnessed at least one match in that run to the goal. Exiting the arena was a little smoother than it had been a couple nights before, with about a 20-minute wait before we got on a shuttle back to the metro station. It helped that, unlike 2 nights before, it wasn't raining.
More, ciao, ciao! Goodbye, good night!
The next day, the metro awaited us once again. This time we were headed to the northwest part of town, taking the M1 line all the way to the end and row Fiera Milano. What awaited at the end of the line was actually Milan's massive convention center, one of the largest in all of Europe. In a nod towards sustainability, 2 temporary Olympic venues were erected here, one being the secondary hockey arena, which unfortunately we didn't get a chance to see during our trip. The other was the long track speed skating venue, and that's what we were here to check out.
Okay, so welcome to Fiera Milano. Normally this is a huge convention center, and I mean huge because we just walked almost the entire length of it. They put the venues at the very end from where the train station. So there are 2 venues here. One is for speed skating, the other for ice hockey. There are 2 events happening simultaneously here, which is why there's a lot of people for coming in right now. We just navigated a big crowd to get to where we're going, so finally time to go inside.
It took us a little bit of time to figure out how to get into the venue, and then to navigate our way to our seats. And by the time all that happened, the event had already begun. Welcome to the men's 10,000 meters. I admit I didn't know much about the competitors in this particular event, so for me it was all about the spectacle and watching the fans go crazy for their countrymen. If you didn't know the Netherlands is typically dominant in long track speed skating, you'll find out real quick by looking around the stands. Just look at all that orange. Meanwhile, our seats were right next to a Polish contingent rooting on their top contender, Vladimir Semruny. And their enthusiasm, plus the fact that one of his most vocal supporters was sitting right next to me, put me into the spirit of rooting for him too. Plus, he sure looks strong, moving into gold medal position after his pairing. I also very much enjoyed watching all the broadcast technology employed during this race. The wide use of drone cameras at many events was well documented while the Olympics were going on. But for speed skating, they also had this little guy going from side to side as the skaters flew by. It looks a little bit like Johnny Five from the movie Short Circuit, for anyone who remembers that cinema classic. But I'm probably dating myself with that reference. I also love this camera on a track that you see employed at a lot of racing events these days. It was enlightening to me to see a little bit of the setup, like how the arena inside the course is delegated for skaters, coaches, etc., and how the innermost lane of the track is dedicated to skaters warming up. In the end, it was a 19-year-old sensation from Czechia, Metody Jilek, who took home the gold. But the Polish contingent next to me had plenty to cheer about, as Vladimir Semruny won silver, and I found myself cheering right along with them. And all the orange-clad Dutch fans were happy too, as their guy, 40-year-old Gjori Bertsma, took bronze. This is what I love about the Olympics, so many fans taking pride in their country's accomplishments, no matter where they're from.
Representing Czechia,
Medaglia d'oro e campione olimpico per la Czechia, Metodej Kienek.
And with that, it was time to take the long trek back across Fiera Milano and to the metro station. It certainly was cool getting to every site in Milan where Olympic events were held. Well, actually wait, there was one more. I didn't arrive in town until after the Olympic opening ceremony, which was held at the historic Siro Stadium. But I did get a chance to see an event there before leaving Milan, and it was of the traditional kind. An incredible experience if you get to visit this city. We'll be making a separate video about the San Siro, so keep an eye out for that in the coming weeks. I hope this video lends some insight into what the spectating experience was like during the 2026 Winter Olympics. If you are also at the Milano Cortina Games, or if you're interested in attending a future Olympics, then let me know. Leave a like or a comment below and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we'll be making a lot more stadium and travel videos like this one. And if you're looking for more info on other major cities or sports venues, head to itinerantfan.com. Thanks for watching and happy travels!